I can't hear anything. Can you talk?
Hello, hello. What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? We will go ahead and get started. Yeah, like Angie said, we're just we're gonna keep it pretty short and sweet. This Tuesday Zooms generally tend to be more open-ended. And so today we're just gonna do a Q&A. So if any of you guys have any burning questions about what's the best markets, how to underwrite a deal, how to fill out a contract, what softwares we use, anything like that, definitely feel free to raise your hand. At any point, you can raise your hand right now, and we'll get to you first. So it's a first come, first serve basis. If you have any questions as well, feel free to type them in the chat, but we will prioritize people that have their hands raised. We'll go through some Q&As, and then we're going to jump over to Family Night with Pace. If you're not a sub-2 student, I would recommend maybe making some calls after. So yeah, let me go ahead and get started. Normal intro. I'm going to run through it pretty quick because I think we have mostly OGs in the Zoom today. Has anybody not been in a Zoom before of ours? If you're new to our Zooms, type 1. If you have no idea who we are or what this Zoom's about, sweet. Looks like we have mostly OGs, so I'll just go through it pretty quickly since most of you guys are probably already tapped in with the team. But of course, you guys know we have our Facebook group. Here's the link to that. Actually, Rachel is gonna just drop all the links. She already did. Perfect. Yeah, if you guys scroll up, you can see all the links, how to connect with us through Facebook. Mark, you're new. Welcome, man. Nice to have you. Yeah, we are sub-2 leaders. We are the accountability leaders for Colorado. We're mastermind students. We also own a brokerage out here in Denver, but we mostly wholesale cash and subject to deals across the country. So hopefully we can point you in the right direction or get you any assistance if you're needing it. Today's just a Q&A, so if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. But yeah, we have our very own Facebook group. I'll drop the link to that in the chat. Tap in there, you can find deals to buy. You can post deals that you have. You can find PMLs, contractors, boots on the ground, lenders, whatever you need. Also, every Zoom we've ever done, not ever done, but a lot of the Zooms we've done have been on saved on Angie's YouTube channel. Drop the link to that. So tons of Zooms on underwriting, live calls, negotiating, identifying markets, how to source leads, all that good stuff. Walking sellers through contracts, pre-foreclosures, basically anything you guys have questions about. It's most likely been answered, but we're going to do it again today. And then lastly, this is really, really, really where we're trying to grow is our Discord. So if you guys aren't a part of the Discord, reps, real estate problem solvers, make sure you join in there. Rachel, can you drop the link to just Discord? It should be launchcontrol.com/reps. Sign up for the Discord. Tons of value in here. Thanks, Rach. Tons of value. If you're trying to join the Discord, you're not sure why it's not working. You should be able to see these first few channels right here. You have to come into verification and check this box right here. Then you'll get access to all these channels. But we have all the links, deal form links. So if you're working on leads, you're direct to seller, direct to agent, or maybe you're already under contract on a property, you're trying to wholesale, you need help finding a buyer, we have all the resources. So if you're working on a direct to agent lead or a direct to seller lead, that's these forms here. We'll help you negotiate it, contract it, find a buyer, whatever you need. If you already have a deal under contract and you just need help finding a buyer, that's the dispo form. If you have a wrap buyer, so someone that's looking for their primary, they need to buy it creatively, but they have a good down payment, you can submit them through here as a JV partner. Or if you have an investor buyer that you would like to add to our buy box, if we ever sell them a deal, you get paid by adding them to our form there. And yeah, other really cool resources. We have a need a list thread, so you can post, hey, I need a list. We'll skip trace and send you a list. We also have our buy boxes here, so if you're ever curious about what we're looking for. And then we also have the virtual office as well on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 3. So if you ever want to just come in, be in the virtual office, highly recommend that. We do live calls, we answer questions, all that good stuff. So make sure you're part of the Discord. Rachel posted the link, so make sure you guys join back in there. So Sweet. We can go ahead and get started. So yeah, again, any questions, doesn't matter how complicated or not complicated they are, feel free to raise your hand or post them in the chat and we'll get to you. I'm going to let Joey take it over from here.
Sweet. Start with Guy. You had your hand raised first. What's up, man?
Hey guys. I had a quick question on another challenge I think that Pace had Sunday. We're doing some comps. We had to get 10 comps done, and I battle buddied with someone actually in this group. And I noticed we had very different comping styles. Is there a format to follow or some sort of template that we could speak the same language on, like when we're doing these comps, or is that you just do whatever you want to do? Or
It depends what you're competent for, man. I'm competent for a long term, a midterm, a flip, a depreciation play, a wrap. I mean, it honestly all depends on what you're competent for. So everybody's, comps are going to be different, I think. I think for a flip, it's basically clear cut.
I would assume so. Yeah, I would assume it's for, to wholesale it. Yeah.
So a flip is kind of going to have your basic, but I mean, at the same time, you're comping for what your buyer likes. Maybe they don't care about buying 80% loan to value. Maybe you have a buyer who wants it 50 cents on the dollar. So it just all depends what you're going to comp it for. Because everybody has their own strategy, right? A lot of buyers, I have a lot of buyers right now. They don't even care if it cash flows. They just want to be in a good area that they know is going to appreciate, and they got to dump their money.
Joey, let me interrupt fast. Can I interrupt real fast?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey guys. So there's a standard that we have, and there's some cheat sheets, but it's really an art because somebody will look at the same house and say, this is what the ARV is, and I'll look at it and I will have different opinions of it, right? So just general comping, it's really kind of an art because I'll plug stuff into, different websites and such, but then I'll ultimately just go through there and manually look and go, okay, this one's selling, this one's not, and look at it in that manner. And that's sort of an art. But there is a sheet that we have that's, when you're comping, only 10% on lots or 10% on square footage, 2-car garage, same neighborhood, don't cross over major streets. So there is some basic rules to follow, but ultimately it's really an art form to get to that end number. But we do have some basic stuff that we could share that we follow.
Okay, yeah, I was kind of asking for generality to like these competitions, like because we're going to have another elephant challenge. Because I'm also an Astro flipper, and Jamil has a fantastic thing. I just want to know if there's something standard, like an industry standard or a rep standard that we would use.
I've seen Jamil's. That's a good one to use, but then ultimately it's really an art, man, because I've been way off and I've been exactly on, right? And I use the same formulas. So it's, a lot has to go into how things are selling currently, like today. So having your finger on the pulse of how things are actually moving, not just using, old data from last month from the MLS, because, the data is always a month behind, actually going out there and making calls to the agents that are selling these homes or the agents that just sold a home or the agents that are under contract. And then you really get a feel for what's happening right now in that neighborhood at this time.
Okay. All right. So there's some subjectivity, or it just depends on the situation as to what style you use and how much detail you use then.
Yep. The best is to call the agents that are selling in the area or just sold, because they'll tell you, yeah, I had no showings. I had 100 showings. I had this, I had 15. Usually they'll talk to you. Usually they'll talk to you. That's what I do. But I go in as an agent. Hey, I'm gonna list something in this area. Whatever, can you help me out? You guys have a lot of activity, and they'll share it because they want me to share it back. So agents usually have a little bit easier time doing it, but anybody can do it if you talk to them.
Okay, that sounds good. All right,
I'll
there's not really.
I just wanted to interrupt because
no, that's good information. So there's not really a standard template like Excel or anything like that. It's just whatever details that you want to.
I mean, there are templates out there where you can do that. Sure, I don't use one, but there are.
Yeah, I was doing it in the scope. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. But I was doing it for the scope of this project because we're trying to get, because you comp and I'll comp, and then we have these two different templates that have different things, and it took some time to sort out, you know, I kind of merged both of ours into one. I guess that was the spirit of which I was asking, like for these challenges, so that we don't have to
The
reinvent.
best way is to just find exactly what you're comping, that exact house. That's the best comp. And then you just go back from there. Find the same house, same neighborhood, just sold in 3 months or sooner. And if you can't have that, then you have to start working backwards from there.
Yep, we ran into that, unfortunately. But okay, that's great information. Thank you very much.
Sorry to hijack your Zoom there, Joey, but I'll get off now.
No, good. Exactly what he said. It's an art. Um, yeah, good question. But like, no disrespect if anybody's from New Western, but if you were to ask a New Western rep what an ARV is, I guarantee it's 50, 60K over what you just comped it at. 100. But yeah, 100K. But I mean, they do good. They sell to a lot of just high W-2 earners. But yeah, it's an art form. I'd say I only look for 90 days tops of something that's sold, and within 100, 200 square foot and the same bed bath count. That's how I do stay even. A lot of people will show you a comp from, oh, this sold, 6 months ago. To me, that's not a comp, at all. I like to go 90 days tops. But good question. Let's see,
Yeah, that
Robert,
makes it
what's up?
challenging for, a lot of areas that don't have that information. And, it makes it very challenging because we ran into that. Probably 30% of our comps didn't have 3 month or newer data. We just did the best we could. And,
Yeah.
I did the same thing where I didn't cross major highways, and I would go
Yep.
by, how close it was and then by how old it was. And I got the newest comp and the closest comp. And sometimes it was not very close and not very new.
Yeah.
So it's
And
just one of those.
sometimes you're comping like in somewhere like Texas, it's tough because it's a non-disclosure state. So it's gonna be hard to get all the real true numbers. But yeah,
It's part of how you make your money, so you got to get good at it, right?
exactly.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, no problem. Let's go. Robert, what's up, man? You're muted.
Thanks, Joey. So I just wanted to rehearse what I think you guys want. So recently you've been emphasizing Section 8 and the specified cities, and well, you've already posted that a number of times. With the either owner finance cash or sub two. But it looks like you would also accept any deal in a major American city over what about 200,000, if 200,000 population, if you can get like we are just talking about the comps, if you can get great terms,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yeah. So like we have a certain, area and terms that we're looking for. But I always say I'll look at anything. If they're open to creative, let's have a conversation. But we have specific buy box that we look for, and specific filters that I go through on PropStream to find the ones that I know are really good for that might take creative. But what we'll look at anything if it's in a major city, and they're open to doing, subject to a hybrid or a seller finance.
So you kind of run through the four pillars, and you're kind of looking for the pain, and then and so that's like an acetate overlay of the sub two cash or owner finance.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. And no problem, man. I saw some questions in the chat. Carol says, are wrap buyers only individuals or can they be investors? They can be investors, but most investors don't want to be wrapped to. I mean, unless you only charged, $100 on top of what you're getting into the deal for. And that's just your way of staying in the deal. But an investor doesn't really want to get wrapped to. The whole point of a wrap is I can pick up a 3% rate, sell it to a homesteader for 6. right? An investor wants that 2, 3, 4% rate. They don't want to be wrapped to at a 7%, with a big down payment. So I mean, yes and no, but the whole point of the wrap is to get that big spread on your interest. Um, so I hope that answered your question, Carol. Let's see. Audrey says we're looking to acquire a 4 to 6 bed, 3 bath home in Colorado Springs, sub 2, safe neighborhood. I got one for you right now, Audrey. Right now, I got a couple. Audrey, you want to unmute and kind of tell me what you're exactly looking for? You're muted right now.
Sorry.
There you go.
Thank you. So, yeah, I was trying to download something and it kept beeping at me. So what's your question? You said
Yeah,
you
you said you're looking for a sub 2 in the Springs. I got one for you right now.
okay, great.
What
How
do you, what do you want to get where you want your entry fee is what I kind of
Well-
need to.
as low as possible, right?
Obviously, yeah, but what, like, you buy a 20%, 15%,
Less-
10%?
Less than 10%, but, I mean, are you wholesaling this sub two? Are you selling the sub two? Or are you trying to rent?
Wholesaling,
Okay,
wholesaling.
yeah, I'm definitely interested. So, hopefully less than 10%.
It is, let me do the math. It's a little over 10. I have a little wiggle room, but I'm asking for,
The monthly payment, and
it's 2,500 a month payment.
that's rough, but it could be doable, actually.
It's a 3.6 interest rate.
Okay, so it could be doable. So what part of town is it? Is it a brand new neighborhood? Is there no HOA? That's something I forgot to write on there.
There's no HOA, no. There's no HOA. It's not a brand new neighborhood. It is an older house, but it was renovated, I think, like 2 years ago. So everything's new in the property.
Okay,
Um,
well, I'm definitely interested, so,
you want to shoot me, here, I'll put my email
okay,
in the chat. And then just shoot me an email and I'll send you all the info on it.
you have two, right? So is the other one, I mean, are they both 4 or 5 bedroom or bigger?
All four, yeah, 4 bed. Actually, in the other one, you might want the other one. We're trying to wrap the other one, so
Okay,
I don't think you're gonna like those terms.
no, definitely. Let's see, I don't see, oh, there it is, Joey. Okay, I'll send you an email.
Sweet. Yep, no problem.
Actually, I'll just put mine in there too, so if anybody
Yeah.
something, they can send it to me.
Yeah. Are you only trying to buy in the Springs?
Right now, yeah, that's what because we have someone who needs a property, so needs a house, and they're gonna be leasing it from us, but,
Okay,
yeah, so,
awesome. Yeah, this one would, just because the interest rate's so low, make a great app
Yeah.
or lease option. Probably bump it up to like 6, 7, make $1,000 cash flow.
nice.
If we didn't have so many wraps going on right now, we would just take it down ourselves, but that's why I'm wholesaling it.
Okay, good.
Okay.
And Carol brings up a good point too. For any of you guys that don't know, if you're not in the Discord, another program we have in the works to hopefully help you guys get some deals done and help out some other sub 2 students as well. So if you're in the Discord, we have a channel. It is called Open Wraps. So we're still working on this. It's not completed yet, but what we plan to do is find every sub 2 student across the country that has a wrap that they bought and they need help finding a buyer. So we're going to get basically an inventory in Florida, Houston, Texas, Arizona, Colorado, of all these open properties that are just sitting vacant and they need a buyer. You can see we created these forms: Tennessee, Texas, Florida, Colorado, So right now what we're doing is we're sourcing these deals from other sub-2 students. We're getting the addresses, the pictures, the terms that they want, and then we're going to post them on these forms here. Still a work in progress, but once we get at least, I would say 5 to 10 properties in Alabama, for example, 5 to 10 properties that investors bought subject to, or whatever, they're just trying to wrap them, we will maybe republish these lists. That way you can come in. The only one we really have complete right now is Colorado. So if you click on this, hit visit site, it will bring you to this open inventory. So right now we have a decent inventory in Colorado. We have a couple of deals in Pueblo, Colorado Springs, North Denver, mostly in Springs, one in LaSalle, Colorado, Commerce City, Colorado, condo in Denver, condo in Boulder, Arvada. This Arvada one is temporary right now. I may need to actually edit that one. But that's the idea. So if you're in Discord, you can hit on any of these, Florida, and none of them are updated yet. This one's still, just the one from Colorado, but eventually we will get 5 to 10 properties in all of these states. You can come in, click on one, and then it's so much easier to go find a buyer for a deal, right? So, and we've done this before. I think a Zoom we did 2 weeks ago, we called agents live and tried to source wrap buyers. So that's one exercise you can do instead of just calling foreclosures or just calling agents for deals. You can call agents and say, hey, do you have any clients that have wanted to buy a home but have been recently denied? I have 10 properties that are asking for seller finance that I can fit your clients to, still get you paid as a buyer's agent as well. And then you guys make a fee from bringing a buyer to the investor that owns these properties. So that way they can go ahead and wrap them. And you can get anywhere from maybe a 5K fee up to, who knows, 10K and 50% of the equity or the cash flow that they receive too. So still in the works. We haven't finalized this yet. I am in the process of sourcing wraps for all of these properties. So hopefully that answers your question, Carol. We're just not ready quite yet, and then if you guys know anyone that has a property sitting and they're trying to wrap it, you can go in and add it to that list as well too. So just a unique JV opportunity too. There's so many niches in real estate. You don't need to call agents or sellers. You can just go and find these penalty box buyers, these wrap buyers, and bring them to these sub-2 students. So good question though, Carol. I'm glad you asked that. Sweet. Any more questions? Any burning desires you guys have? It could be a question about the softwares we use. It could be dating advice. Cash deals coming up are going to be king. And then I forget, was it Guy that asked it? I think it was Guy that asked it about comping. Yeah. I had a point to that too. I was actually just comping a flip in San Antonio. And it has a ADU on the back. It has like a 900 square foot casita, they call it. So when I'm comping properties, I can't see any properties that have a casita attached to it. So I'm just looking at comps that have sold recently. And then to be honest, I think a casita is a huge value add. So for me, I think I could maybe get an extra 20K on my purchase price. So I love what Dom said. Comping is really an art form. Another thing I love to do is just look at what is listed. So I can get an idea. If I can click on something that's listed for, let's say, I think my comp is 400. If I click on something that's very comparable, flipped, but it's only listed at 350, Zillow will show you, hey, this has 1,000 views, 400 saves, likely to sell 98% faster than homes nearby. Then maybe my comp at 400,000 is pretty accurate too. So you're just, obviously a comp is like, here's an address of a sold property within a half a mile radius, same bed bath, same square footage. That's a real comp. But for you, just to get an understanding of what you think you could get for it, you're just getting all the information you can about what's listed, what's pending, what failed, what sold, and then make an educated guess from there too. So Enrique asks, what CRM do we use? Good question, Enrique. And actually too, I'll show you guys this. Let me show it to you for any of you guys that want to JV with us too. Let me see if I can find a test contact real quick. Agent test. Okay. So we use a Go High Level platform. It's called Podimation. It's basically REI reply, anything Go High Level. It's based all off the same system. So that's basically what we use. But this is a test right here. So you can see your opportunities here. This is where your pipelines are, where you go through your leads, dashboards, all that good stuff. So you can see, how many leads you have, the opportunity status, all that good stuff. But if you're back into your contacts here, back this way. So test, I just want to show you guys, if you submit a lead as a JV partner, and some of you guys know this, if you've submitted a lead like Kaon has, like Jeremy has, you're listed right here as the JV partner. No one's submitted this as just a test, so no one's here, but your information is listed here. So anytime I write something down here, send offer to the seller, she is looking at it with her husband, something like that, I hit save, you get an email with that notification. And I could probably even find one right here. So yeah, Ray Allen sent one. So I said, here's the latest on this lead. Here's the notes I put, called twice, no answer. This looks like a good deal. Ray then replied, okay, well, he is expecting an LOI. I told him you would send one over. Not sure why he's not answering. So I got Ray's email back and I just went ahead and sent an LOI. So it's just a great way for us to keep communication, for you guys to learn as we go through the deal. Like instantly, if I spoke to the seller, couldn't get an answer, I sent an offer, I think it's a dead lead, whatever, you're instantly notified. And then obviously if a deal closes, you're notified before a deal even closes. We're letting you know, hey, here's the closing date. And then we'll send you a JV agreement or a commission disbursement agreement, however it shakes out. So that's just an insight into the CRM as well too. Liam, good question. You were sneezing or you joined in late, either way. So he asked, what are the virtual office hours for? So if you come into virtual office, this is from every Tuesday and Thursday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Mountain Time. Me, Joey, Jake, and anybody else that's available will be in here. So anytime I have like a phone call, I'm direct to seller, I'm going to unmute myself and let you listen to that phone call. Vice versa, if you have a phone call, you'd like feedback on it live, you can unmute. Or if you have questions, you have a lead you're working on and you want us to call it on the Zoom or on the virtual office, you can do that as well too. I think we had like 8 people or so in the virtual office. So definitely a great place to be, connect with us, get questions answered, get live support too. I'm also in my DMs every day. So if you're DMing me on Discord, I'm pretty quick at replying as well. So definitely make sure you guys get into the Discord. Tapping the Discord, the 2 extra steps to open the channels. Yeah, Mark, let me show that one more time. So you just have to, once you come in, you're only going to see like 3 channels. You need to come into verification and just click this little check mark, and then it'll give you access to the rest of them here. Sweet. Robert, you have a question?
Yeah, thanks. Well, just revisiting the open wraps that you have in Discord. I mean, if it has already been wrapped and a person is attempting to sell that, it would seem like you're going against the tide because you're buying an increased interest rate with an increased price.
So these are the deals that you'll see in that form are going to be deals that other sub-2 or investors bought subject to. So they took over ideally a 2 or a 3 or a 4% interest rate, and they want to sell it at a 6 or 7 rate, but they haven't yet.
Okay.
So they did close on it as a sub-2, but they haven't yet wrapped it. So our idea is, let's find these retail buyers, these penalty box buyers that are okay with paying 6%. They have 100 grand in the bank or 50 grand in the bank, and then just connect those two.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that clear?
Well,
okay.
So how are you finding these buyers then?
Yeah. So, and also too, let me show you on the YouTube. We actually interviewed a guy. My guy, his name's Luis. We interviewed him at the beginning of this Zoom. Let's see if I can find it. Finding Wrap Buyers right here, this Zoom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks. Huh.
Yeah. Check that out. We call agents live in that one, try to source deals from that way. Luis, who we interviewed, who's great at finding wrap buyers, one of his primary ways of doing so is by connecting with CPAs. So accountants
yeah.
that have these clients. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's another way I had never thought of.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, check that Zoom out.
So it's
That's a great way, I think.
it's another niche that is not to be overlooked.
I think so, because I know personally there's got to be at least 200 homes across the country, probably more, that investors bought subject to, and they want to wrap these. Another great thing too is like I could just go to Google and type in seller finance homes in Denver. I've already done this, so I would recommend you search other places, but I can go to owner financing on Redfin here. And there's not going to be that many. Oh, we stopped recording. There's not going to be that many, but there's, I don't know why it's now showing there is that many, but you can also type in owner finance homes on Zillow, right? And there's only going to be a handful of listings, but what most people do is they'll call those agents and say, hey, is your seller willing to take 0 down, 0 interest, like try to get it as an investment property. 99% of the time, they're just going to hang up on you. But if you call and say, hey, I'm an investor, I actually do wraparounds and seller finances all the time. My personal inventory is low, but I have a network of buyers that are knocking my door down to buy something, and they have 10 to 20% down. They can afford a 6.5 interest rate. So I'm just curious to know what your clients' terms are that they're wanting. And if I have a buyer that fits that, I'll give you a call back. So that's another great way is like, just be a connector. So absolutely, just another niche besides what you find on Zillow. I know there's at least 200 homes from sub-2 students that bought subject to deals and they're trying to wrap it and they're sitting vacant. So if you can come in and be the savior, bring a buyer to those deals, you can make 5, 10, 15 grand plus cash flow. It all depends, but yeah, great niche there, I think.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Right on. Oliver, what do you got, brother?
What's up, Dylan? I got a CRM question for you. Since you brought that up, so I came over from Astro Flipping with the Astro Blaster, which is also based. Have you heard of it? I guess is number one.
Yeah, it's a Go High Level platform. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't even have to tell you about that. So, when I first came over to Sub 2, it confused me. So it slowed me down. So I just put it to the side for the time being, so I could learn and get into the swing of things. So as I've been making calls, I've just been writing it down and making a spreadsheet, which I'm noticing takes time and is not as organized as probably putting it into the Astro Blaster. So I have a phone number on Astro Blaster that's already A2P certified. Instead of, you and I talked about what phone should I use, I've just been using my phone. But since I already have that already set up and now I'm making calls, would it make sense to just use that phone number on Astro Blaster? Because it looks like, based on high level, it will record everything. It will make sure that the text, that I know where we left off, the voicemails are on there, how long we did, and just make all my calls to agents and sellers off of that from now on.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right, it will record every single phone call. So that's great for content or just being able to go back and listen to a conversation 100%. A great thing too is you can change the number. So if you want to call in another state, you can change your area code for that state specifically as well, maybe get a better answer percentage. For sure. Absolutely. I think I don't think it costs extra money. Maybe you have to look into that if you're having conversations. I don't know what that looks like. Maybe Rachel's gonna know. Yeah.
So it depends. Hey guys, so it depends on how often you're going to be calling, and I don't know everything with Astro Blaster. Like for us, sorry, I hope you can't hear my dog snoring. She's on my
You're
lap.
good.
But um, depending on what you want, how many calls you're going to be making, you might want to cycle through your list. And what I mean by that is, have like a 4 or 5 like phone numbers, but each week you cycle through them. So then that way one number is not getting used all the time. So then that way it won't get reported spam and they will last a lot longer.
I think Ty was saying like every 75 phone calls, give it a break, or every couple days, give it a break, or something like that.
Yeah, and like also depending on what you're having with campaigns and stuff like that, you can have different phone numbers for campaigns and stuff like that too. So you just want to make sure you're not using so many phone numbers compared to like doing certain things. So for example, if you're gonna text 200 people, you want 2 phone numbers and like so on. So you only kind of want to you got to be careful with the amount of numbers you have. So like honestly, more numbers and cycling through them is the better option.
Okay. Do I have to, if I've already gotten A2P certified, do you know if I can just get an additional number without having to go through that process again? Or do I have
Yeah.
to A2P every single number?
No. So once you do that once, then that means you can do as many emails and texting as you want. You just have to go into your settings and then purchase a number as well, like another number. And like you have
I
to
love
pay that each month.
I love you all. Thank you. That just saved me so much time. And I also saw the smart lists thing, which I will go explore. But it looks like I call everybody on it and I just separate my sellers for different reasons into different smart lists and my agents into different reasons for their smart lists.
And also, I host integrator Zooms every other Thursday, and this Thursday is another integrator Zoom that I do with a few other sub 2 integrators, and we actually did cover a lot of what you just asked last week. So I can go back and give you the recording of that, and I think that would be super helpful for you to listen to as well.
I would really love that because I would really like to start just shuffling everything through that so I can keep track of it, because the last thing that I'll say is I see Astro Blaster as I'm going to make all the initial calls. I enjoy calling, I'm finding a lot. And so I'm going to make the first connection with people on the phone. And then I'm going to sort of use Astro Blaster to follow up with the agents by text once a week if I get to that point. Anything wrong with that last question?
No, I think that's great how you're doing that. Good job.
Cool. I love y'all. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Sweet. Thanks, Oliver. Carol asked another really good question. She said she tried to run an ad for wrap buyers on Craigslist, but got rejected. Let me check my section. Yeah, maybe you posted in the wrong section. I do think Craigslist made a change too, that if you want to list the property for sale or for rent, they are charging $5 for that now. They didn't used to do that, so maybe you caught them right in the middle of that switch is why too. Let me see if I can log into mine real quick and show you the verbiage I've used. Okay, yeah, I found it. So, and this is, and let me touch on this too, Carol, like you're way ahead of me, but this is another amazing strategy, regardless, even if you have, and this is why I want to get the wrap inventory first before we start going and marketing for wrap buyers. You don't need to, but it's great that if you find someone that's like, hey, yeah, I have 50K, I'm ready to buy. What do you got? You already have an inventory list available. You don't need one. You can just say, we come across these properties all the time. They do go quick. We don't have anything that fits your buy box right now, but let me write down your information. And then when we get something available, I'll send it to you. We've closed so many deals like this where we have a retail buyer. Dom just closed one like this. If you have a retail buyer, and sometimes they're great because your retail buyers might have 100 or 200K. So when we hunt for sub 2 deals, right, we're looking for people with low or negative equity. But if we know we have a buyer that has 200K, we can look for somebody that might have that 200K in equity, and we can just expand our search. Joey's working on a deal right now. A lady is looking for a property in Nevada with a pool. She's got 200K. So we are able to expand our search, and hopefully we're in negotiations with a seller right now. We can get a deal locked up and sold. So I
Dylan,
would
tell them
highly
why that
recommend.
somebody would do that, because it sounds like, what? Okay, anybody could buy a house with 100 grand, but your payments are way cheaper because you're taking over somebody's existing 3% loan. So example, the one I just did, here, I'll put my camera on so you guys can see me. The one I just did, it was a $520,000 house. They put down 100 grand, took over their payments. There was a little bit of equity that we amortized over 15 years, but his payment was like $2,500 a month. We did that same calculation. It would have been like $4,000 a month, even given the $100,000 down. So that's why it's worth it to people. You think, well, gosh, they're putting 100 grand down, it's not gonna be worth it. But the payment at the end was $1,700 difference from doing the same thing he did, going to a bank, getting all the bells and whistles from the bank. $1,700 is a big difference. He could save that 100 grand that he put down in 5 years on that. So that's why somebody would do that. If you're wondering why you do that.
Love it. Yeah, absolutely. So even someone that, can qualify traditionally, if they have a big down payment, it's like, why go get a 6.5 rate? Let me go and find you a 3.5 rate instead, So just so many different niches. So let me show you that post too. So this is one we were selling in Fountain, Colorado. I do post the full purchase price. One thing I've learned not to do is just to post the down payment required, because that is flagged as like a scam. People are like, you can't buy a house for 35 grand down. They report you and you get banned on Facebook Marketplace like I did. So don't do that. Post the full purchase price. And then in your verbiage, I say rent to own / seller finance opportunity available. Dueño a dueño is very big. So make sure you put that in your header too. That means owner to owner in Spanish. That's seller finance in Spanish. But down payment requirement 10% equals 42,000. Some information about the property. You can I also then get it translated into Spanish as well. And then you can even say something like, no banks required. You just need a down payment, minimum or monthly payment, blah, blah, blah. You can even say like monthly payment. Everything's negotiable. Monthly payment depends on size of down payment. So if someone has a bigger down payment, maybe they can buy down their rate. But a post like this is great. And then whether you have the property for sale or not, like honestly, I'm going to repost this posting because someone's going to call me. I'll say, oh, no, we sold that one, but we have others available or more coming soon. What are you looking for? And then I'll add them to my wrap buyer form. And that's the other thing for you guys too. If you don't have a CRM in place, you don't have systems in place as well too. If you want to just capture that lead, come to the links in Discord, come to wrap buyer form, and then just fill this out. So obviously this is their name, all that good stuff, budget amount, how'd you hear about us? Who did you talk to? Rachel, did we ever change these or did we ever add? I forget what we spoke about.
I am working on that with getting my wisdom teeth out. I'm slightly behind.
No excuses, Rachel.
I know.
But yeah, you could put your wrap buyers' names here and then your information in the company name if you'd like, or you could just put your name here. And then when we have a property that fits for this specific buyer, we'll reach out to you and say, hey, send this to your wrap buyer, all that good stuff. But this is just a way to capture that lead and put it in a CRM if you guys would like to JV with us. So yeah, absolutely. Just a huge niche. I really think that if someone only focused on finding wrap buyers, that could be just the niche you do. Like, let me just go and find wrap buyers, especially in areas like Texas, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Houston. There's probably 200 wraps in those 4 cities alone that Sub-2 students have bought and need buyers for. So just a huge opportunity for everybody in here. Okay, Mike says, what's your take on contract for deed versus wraps? So I think those are almost 2 different things, Mike. A contract for deed and a wrap are essentially 2 different things, because you can buy a property on a wrap on a contract for deed. You can also sell a property on a contract for deed and a wrap. They're almost the same thing and they're 2 different things too. So that's a tough question to answer, but contract for deeds, if you guys don't know, In Colorado and Arizona, they're called contract for deeds. In other states, they're called bond for deeds, executory contracts. Yeah, they're called different things in different states, but contract for deed and executory contract is the most popular. It's essentially like buying a car that you get financing from a bank. Right, when you buy a car and you get financing from a bank, the bank holds the title, right? You don't get the title, the bank holds it, but you still technically own that car. You can still rent it out on Turo, you can still sell it, right? You can still refinance it. Same thing with a contract for deed. That seller still technically holds the deed. They're still the owner, but if you have a contract for the deed, you have an interest in the deed. You have technically partial ownership. Depends on what's written in your contract for deed, but you can still have full ability to rent it, sell it, refinance it, whatever. But the deed in both scenarios, the car and the home technically won't transfer into your name until that loan is completely paid off, whether it's a seller finance loan or a subject to. So you can buy a property on a contract for deed and then wrap it on a contract for deed as well too. That's how we typically do it. So yeah, a lot of moving parts, a lot of similarities and differences with those two. So, and Rachel's posting about her integrator Zoom too. If any of you guys are like, hey, maybe I'm not a caller, maybe I don't want to be a cold caller, I don't want to do direct to seller, direct to agent. Maybe you want to be more of the back end integrator systems person. I would highly recommend checking out Rachel's integrator Zooms every other week. Rachel, what's the schedule for those? Is it every other Thursday?
Yeah, it's every other Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that would be our 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, definitely check into that. If you guys think you're more integrator, tech savvy, you're not the best at direct to seller, making cold calls, all that good stuff. So sweet. Well, thank you guys so much for showing up. If we have no more questions, Oliver, I think we got your question, right? I think we got
Oh
your
yeah,
question.
sorry about that.
No
Is
worries.
the integrator links in the chat? I'm sorry, I'm driving.
Yeah, so I didn't do an actual like link. It's you have to text integrator to like a number and then you're gonna get a text with all the information on it. And it sends out like reminders. So I can text that to you since you're driving.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sweet. Right on. Thank you guys so much for showing up. Yeah. So if you're in sub 2, go join the family night with Pace. Be in there, raise your hand, and ask a question. Even if you don't have a question, come up with something. If you're not in sub 2, highly recommend maybe use the rest of the day to make some calls, or make some Craigslist posts. Go find some wrap buyers. Right. Sweet. Well, thank you guys so much for showing up. We love doing these Zooms for you. We love providing value. Make sure you're part of the Discord and the Facebook group, and we will see you back here on Friday at noon Mountain Time, 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific. Yeah, have a good week, guys. Crush it. Let us know if you